Hello, hello, hello. Just getting everything set up. Morning, Craig. You okay? Well, it's the evening for you. How are we? Morning, Paul. Good morning, Glenn. How are we? Are we all okay? So, I've just been messing around with the tank. Hello, Mike. So I ended up up really late last night with Jeff, didn't I? I don't know why I'm shouting. I always get overexcited and start shouting. Oh, calamari. Quality. So yeah, I arranged to go live with Jeff last night, and then he sprung it on me. He wanted to set up a water tank, and that's fine by me. So I'm just some of this glare. It's a little bit cloudy at the moment. I think there's a bit of a bacterial bloom going on in the tank. But good morning, Vinovsky. I got overexcited and shout. So I was going to go live an hour ago, and then they decided to empty the bins an hour ago. They normally do in the afternoon, and they also decided to cut the grass outside. Good morning, Lewis. How are we? So, do you know what? I've got spawning mops here, and I want to see if I can get them Busmonii breeding. I want to see if I can get some fry out of the. They're absolutely stunning. They're bright red. Wow, chat's flying. So what's everyone up to today? Obviously, Paul said he's in work and he's waiting on fish. This looks far more cloudy on camera. So I ended up pulling out an absolute ton of fowl last night. I still need to get shut of it. So we got let's get you off that tank and onto another tank. It's really tight, isn't it? There we go. How's that? Is that it's kind of a mix, by the looks of it, it's kind of a mix of what do you call it? Like, it's got a yellowy tinge to it, so I'm assuming it's a mixture of humic and fulvic acids and a bit of bacteria maybe. It just keeps going warm and cold in here, so I'm hoping they've bred in that shell at the front. See the big one? That one. It's zoomed right in. So they're in this area, they're going in and out the shell, so I'm hoping there's some breeding activity going on. But, oh, do you know, these Busmonii go mad, they're like proper dancing and stuff, so I'd love to get a spawning mop in there, but the only one I've got hasn't got anything to float it with, so Need some yellow forktails already. Oh mate, yeah. Got an obsession with the OB peacocks and blood dragons. Yeah, that would I really want to see Africans coming back into the hobby, so I'd love to see Lewis do some Malawi tanks. Look at these guys, look at the colour of these bad boys already. Yeah. I'm trying to get the duckweed off that bottom tank. I'm absolutely sick of having duckweed up to my elbows every time I put them in the tank. And you know my goldfish tank, the light's off on it at the moment. The goldfish tank, I really want to keep the goldfish, but I kind of want to use the space for something else. I think I could get loads of small tanks along this side. Obviously this side's a 5-foot tank and then there's a 4-foot tank underneath. And I'm thinking the other side I could have a load of like foot wide, 2 foot deep tanks. So I was thinking I could get a load of tanks and start doing a bit of breeding, because I'm getting the itch to start breeding again. There's loads of do the goldfish breeding project I was on about, Keith. I'm tempted, but I don't know whether it's the right time of year to be breeding goldfish. If I bred them in the spring, I'd be able to keep them outside all summer. So I know, but yeah, well, a lot of them are still quite small, so I'd have to grow the adults out for a bit and then get them breeding. I've already sexed them, mate. What time is it? Oh no, but I haven't got room for goldfish really, apart from these. Like, I like the idea of getting these outside in the summer and bringing them back in the autumn, but in general there's a lot of other stuff I'd rather keep than different types of goldfish, because they take that much space up, and I'm quite limited for room at the moment, and there's other things I want to play with, so it's committing all that space to it. But it is something I will get it done. It is on the agenda. I don't think Fish Farm's working at the moment, Glenn. So I don't know if anyone noticed, but like in the last few videos I had like strange issues with the audio, and I was recording a video the other day, and when I took my microphone jack out, it just came apart in my hand, the jack off the mic, so it must have been a loose connection. Everyone needs a fish shed, unless you're Jeff Pelham and you've got a massive basement. Yeah, I think it's been down for a while. Wow, 25 in chat. I think this one here at the back, it's got some really dark colours on it. Usually that's a sign of dominance, but the shellies are terrorising them at the moment. There's a lot of like worms along the front glass. I've never seen that amount of worms in a fish tank before. Good morning or good evening, Crazy for Seahorses. to a lot of people. I only normally get 10 on, don't I? And that's like, mine never seems to creep above 10. But this, my number one goal is to get these Frontosa bred. I got a colony up to breeding size, and then I had to move, so I had to move them on. And I've even tried locating them to see if I could get them back, but there's no sign of the lad who bought them anywhere on social media, so I can't even track them down and see if I could get hold of them again. But I've been really getting into bristlenose Plecos at the moment. Obviously I've got honeycomb, I keep talking about it, I've got honeycomb. I've got peppermints, and I'm thinking of setting them up in tanks, and maybe getting some green dragons and a couple of other types of bristlenose and getting them bred out. Be interested to see what I could do with them. But I'm also thinking of just growing out the ones I've got. Definitely doing that, mate. I'm gonna get that done. Answer the phone. Can you hear that? Like, it's on silent. That's really frustrating. If it's, I've just had a spam phone number trying to ring me, so I didn't realise it would come through on the thing because it's all muted, so that's quite frustrating if it has. But obviously it has if people have heard it. Someone said yesterday that one of them's got 5 bars, and I've been looking, I can't see which one's got. They all look like they've got 6 bars to me. I need to I think the one that lives down the furthest to the left on this side, I think its pattern's really faded. Struggling to. This one down here, the back there, it tends to lose the stripe on its face. But my watch times were flying this week. I think I'm up to about 80 hours already, which is like double what I normally get, but I need to start knocking out more content. Hey George. It's just really limited for time, so I'd like to get more Wallstad content out, definitely. I get a lot of I tend to get a lot of views and a lot of watch time when I'm doing Wallstad stuff. I didn't even, my original video I wasn't even meant to do. I done a hack video, how we can apply stuff from the Wallstad method to like everyday fish tanks, and that really blew up. And then I just kind of focused on the questions I was getting. I just made content based on the questions, and every video seemed to do well, amazing. But realistically, if I want to grow my channel, I should focus on what's working. That's what they say, don't they? Focus on what's working. And but I do know a lot of the people that watch my videos really want to see me do breeding projects. So I think getting the bristlenose going, getting the rainbows going. I'd like to get me Rio Nane up to size. They seem to be flying up in size, so hopefully I can get a pair out of them in a few months time, and then I'd like to get some Manica Peru as well, get them going. If I'm honest, I like Rob's setup with his little tanks in the corner of his room, where he could have like rams or pistos going in there and some Plecos and stuff. I like the idea of being able to breed stuff out and not taking up massive amounts of space. A lot of the fish I like to breed, just growing them out, would take up, like, if I bred me Frontosa, I'd probably have to grow them out in like 5-6 foot tank, so But I've got more fish tanks outside here than I have in here. I've got an absolute ton outside. And I've got 2, 4, 6, 8 tanks in here, and I've probably got more than that outside. So, but I don't know whether to just. Wow, it's mad that you could hear it because it's muted, so that's really frustrating me. These boats I look like they're ready to go, so I wouldn't mind giving these a go. Obviously they take a long time to grow out, so I was thinking I could get spawning mop in here and then get it in one of the 25 litre tanks for maybe a month and then transfer them over to a bigger. I've got a couple of 100 litres and an 80 litre tank I could get them in. So yeah, that'd be a cool project I think. Plus I can start trading them in then and getting some other stuff. Like I want to kind of build up credit with the shops to be able to, if any Plecos come in or anything like that, I can kind of do them a deal where I trade with them and pick up stuff I want. I always find it's nice to have a bit of credit in the shop, because then you can, if anything comes in, you can just take it there and then kind of thing, without the guilt of overspending. Has anyone else got any breeding projects they're doing? That tickled me, that. I just realised that was a double entendre as well. My pure red rhyme with dancing yesterday. Wow. I absolutely love crystal shrimp. I love the all the red striped pattern shrimp, like the red galaxies, the red fishbone. It's just having that many, being that limited on space and wanting to do that many projects, it's hard to juggle. Yeah, I'd love to do that, Glenn. It seems to heat up in here in the day and then kind of drops back down in the evening through the night. I think the sun heats up the felt on the roof, and then it acts like a radiator, and because the room's insulated, it just traps all the heat in. Wow. That's cool, Glenn. Like, that's a part of the hobby that interests me, is like seeing what you can source that's unique and stuff like that. I love the idea, you know, I'm always when I'm in the shops and they're talking fish with me, I always like to see what's on their lists that's a bit different. Obviously, when these Waponga red laser came in, I've never seen them in any shops before. And I actually went in to buy Plecos rainbows. I shouldn't have mixed them up really in the same tank, but it just seemed to make sense at the time, and I was kind of in a rush to change things around and get stuff shut down. So, but my Gully River, me trifasciatus, they look like they're ready to go to shop kind of thing. I only want to keep 6, so I've got a breeding project out of them, and then the rest can go to shop. So I can They're a really rare rainbow fish, so we could trade them in and get something a little bit different. Hello Andrew. But I noticed a lot of people are keeping African cichlids again, especially, obviously Rob's got the Lake Tanganyika and stuff, and then it kind of prompted me, plus I got my old tank back that I used to keep my African cichlids in. That's kind of jogged my memory and made me think, oh, you know what, I need to get back into them. And I feel like I've done it at the right time, because I'm noticing the shops are starting to stock more Africans, and I think that's a positive sign of what might be coming next. But right now in my area it's all angels and Plecos, Corys, stuff like that. What you like to watch and breed it. I can't sell African cichlids for. See, I think that's a lot. I don't think it takes many Africans to flood the market, so I think that's why you get these little booms in the markets. Africans were massive before, especially the Malawis in my area, were massive before the marine hobby kicked off in about 2013. And since then they just don't seem to have recovered. Like the modern high-tech planted tanks seem to have taken over from the marine round where I live in the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years maybe, something like that. I jumped out of the marine hobby in about 2018. And it does tempt me to go back to it sometimes. I've got the river at the bottom of my road, so I could go and get some natural seawater. So that literally would save me a fortune in buying salt. The only problem with the seawater at the bottom of my road is the salinity is a bit low. I think it's 1.023 or 1, depending on the time of year, but I've got quite a long jetty you could get out to the end of and catch some water at low tide. Give them something to eat. I noticed they're not really massive fans of this pellet. They're starting to take it. Well, it's more of a granule than a pellet. The stuff Glenn sent me I really like. That's a granule. It's similar to this stuff. It's a little bit bigger than this one, but we sell a lot of guppies. I've got a ton of guppies that I wanted to start line breeding some guppies, and kind of got sidetracked, and now I've got a tank full of mutts. So, but there is a few. I mean, if I really wanted to and I felt really keen on it, I could probably get a few females out and get a couple of males from the shop. They're only a couple of quid, aren't they, the males? So I could do that, but I've got that many other things I want to do at the moment. It's hard to commit to everything. And I'm hoping these two are bred in that cave at the front. It'd be nice to get the start of the colony going. I think once you've got your first spawning or something, I think you've done them. Because then you can make more, don't you? So if you need a female or a male, you can breed it out yourself and then grow it out. And I'm happy I've shut. This was a planted tank, wasn't it? And I'm happy I shut it down, to be honest, because I felt like I had too many planted tanks and not enough proper fish tanks. And I feel like this is more of a proper fish tank, and I was missing that proper fish tank vibe. But I still put me Anubias in here, and I know I'm battering in Nubius. Looks like it's getting little bits of algae on it, and I know that's because it's basically directly under the light, but I'm not stressing myself out over my plants in all my tanks. I've got tanks that where the plants are like I'm focused on, but on some proper fish tanks where I'm focused more on the fish. I never realised they bred like that. I thought it'd be like extremely hard to breed seahorses. But as I was saying last night, when I'm in marine tanks, I was tempted to set up like a display refugium with some macroalgae, like what was it, Calaper, is it? Get them set up and then get some seahorses in there. There was some other cool macroalgae on eBay at the time, some like, I think something was called Dragon something, or a fan, and it was like bright pinky red. And I was thinking I could do like what you do with the planted tank. I could do that with marine algae. I thought that'd look really cool with some large rock and stuff. See, that's what I've been doing with my fish at the moment, is trying to get little bits of food in there 3-4 times a day, rather than, that's it, drink pink dragon breath algae. I was looking at that and it looked amazing. It looked almost like a stem plant. And there was a YouTube video where a guy had a massive display refugium. It was probably bigger than this tank, and he had seahorses. He had the egg crate in the middle, and then just like a textbook refugium, and then on one side he had like a seahorse colony. It looked really cool, and I wanted to do that with my tanks, because the tank was on a sump, so it would have been easy to kind of plumb a refugium into the sump. I also had a frag tank on it full of SPS corals. But if I'm honest, it was mostly the SPS corals that kind of, I found it really time consuming, and constantly having to dose the tank every day, and you get conflicting information, which, you know, what's new in the hobby, everyone seems to have conflicting information on everything. That's 3 different red macroalgae. At one point I was really interested in studying macroalgae and seeing what I could get for a tank, and there was some fascinating ones on eBay. I don't know whether they'd still be around today, because the hobby in the UK has kind of gone in on itself, and a lot of this stuff, since they banned the capture of the wild fish, like, everything's gone really expensive, and I think a lot of people have moved away from it for that simple fact. But as I say, I shut my tank down, and I was reading Practical Fish Keeping magazine, their article on the freshwater reefs of Lake Tanganyika, they called it, and I found that article fascinating, and that's what got me into setting up a community Lake Tanganyika tank. And within a few months I found out Frontosa got massive with a long-term breeding project, and it just all appealed to me, so I ended up getting Frontosa. And then I kind of moved all the other fish into like their own breeding tanks. So I had a 100 litre tank with Bouchardy in, and then I had my shell dwellers in an 80 litre tank. I totally agree with that, mate. I found my SPS coral really time consuming. They were really expensive because I was dosing with all sorts of nutrients and trace elements, and I was running ROFOS and activated carbon in reactors to try and keep the water crystal clear. And I just remember one day going into the shop, I've talked about this before, and there was a guy buying Discus, and I was buying salts, I was buying all the trace elements to dose the tank, I was buying uh, row phos and row carbon, and I was spending more money on him than him, and he was buying Discus, and I was thinking he's going to have well more fun with half a dozen juvenile Discus than I'm going to do just dosing and water changing with this stuff. And that's kind of, and then I had a crash. Tend to find I got to the 2 year mark with my tank, and then they'd crash and all my SPS corals would wipe, and then I'd have to get my frag tank, strip all that down and start adding all my frags to the tank. I don't know if it was just my technique and I was doing something wrong, but I always found I'd get to that 2 year mark and everything would crash and I'd get soft tissue necrosis. But if I was to do reef keeping again, I'd go into like zoanthids. I absolutely love zoanthids. I get collectoritis and collect all the rare name zoanthids. They're supposed to be rare, but everyone seems to have the same rare ones, but they don't seem to have all the other common ones. So what makes something rare? Yeah, I got with my current setup nowhere compared to my coral tanks I have. Yeah, I think if you're not keeping coral, I think saltwater is as complicated as most freshwater, really. Hair algae is usually excessive nutrients, or the argument is it's too much. It's an excess amount of light or ammonia. Hello Melvin. So I tend to ramp my lights down a bit and up my water changes down my feeding if I'm dealing with algae, but once algae gets in your tank it can be quite stubborn to get out, so it's just a case of perseverance really. I tend to try and manually remove anything I can and then just kind of run my lights on low and try and up the water changes, get the water a bit like a bit less nutrient rich if you like. But we all have algae and have some sort of description in our tanks. Or another thing, if you haven't got plants, get plants in your tanks and they'll compete with the algae. Another, I suppose what I should be saying is for the hornwort, people find when you get hornwort in the tank, algae just can't exist. It just seems to crash. So the hornwort seems to well competed, or I've seen an argument in a scientific paper to say that there's chemical properties that the hornwort releases that crashes it stops algae from inhibits algae growth. That's the argument. I've had some people tell me that that's just conjecture and I'm making it up. Or I've got the comment. So the violet ones. What were they called? Whamming watermelons they were called, weren't they? Kenya trees are amazing. Pulsing zinnia. My friend had a tank and he had green star polyps and pulsing zinnia in his tank, and he had, I think it was like a 2-foot cube with about 20 kilos of live rock, and the pulsing zinnia and the green star polyps covered every square inch of his tank, and it looked absolutely amazing. It was almost hypnotic watching all this pulsing zinnia pulse in his tank. I've had pulsing zinnia before where it's just sat with its like polyp open, it's never done nothing. And then other times I've had it where it pulses like crazy. But I do miss my reef tank sometimes. I miss collecting zoanthids, and I had a stunning rose bubble tip anemone with clowns in. I had a watchman goby and a pistol shrimp, and I think I'd like to keep that again one day. It's definitely something on my list, my bucket list to keep, because I do appreciate that type of setup. Oh, what do you have in there? I've got Lamprologus multifasciatus, Lake Tanganyika shell dweller species, and I've got some Cytotilapia frontosa, some Burundi frontosas that I'm growing out as a breeding project. The camera isn't. It's hard to get because I can't get any closer with the camera stand. It's hard to get. I have to zoom in a bit to get them on camera, and then it looks a bit pixelated. I think that's looking good. And then the bottom tank is rainbows in a planted tank. Look at these. Having a little bit of beef. Thanks, Melvin. Look at these having beef here. I've got two geophagus doing exactly the same behaviour in the other tank in the living room. I noticed a lot of the behaviours between the two fish are really similar, and I find that really fascinating. Yeah, the Anubis are really slow growing species, so the leaves hang around a long time, and it gives algae a chance to take hold on the leaf surface. I'm getting a lot of algae on the leaves of mine, if I'm perfectly honest with you, but I'm just running as a fish tank. What I tend to do is I try and tuck Anubis under something that's a bit more fast growing, kind of stems or like an Amazon sword, or maybe some floating plants over them. Just anything that's a bit faster growing that can pull the nutrients out and stuff. Favourite breed of fish? Mine's definitely Frontosa. These little fellas here, they get to about a foot in size eventually. And I also got an Australian green leather coral. Can't wait to cut some frags. Wow. See, a lot of the corals come from Australia and around them seas, don't they? So there isn't many exciting corals around the UK. I think there's an absolute ton of anemones though out at sea. Softy's got a boom lately. Yeah, I appreciate soft corals. I think I like the idea that your tank isn't as labour intensive if you got soft corals. I like the idea of a low maintenance marine tank. The amount of maintenance you can end up doing on the marine tanks, insane compared to a lot of freshwater tanks. So North Sea seahorse, pipefish, algae. I think Rob, Mr. Fishbird, he lives next to the North Sea, I think. Well, not far from it. A lot of people I know work in the North Sea on the oil rigs and stuff. It seems to pay well as well. Whoa. Where are we up to? I've been half tempted to put some. I was talking about putting some Lalupi in here. I think I'd like to do that long term. I think once the shellies have been in here a while and I take them out, I think I'd get some Lalupi in here. Or Lalupi, however you want to pronounce it. And then once these little bad boys are, I want to get these in their own tank. I want to get a little colony because I think these are one fish that the fish shops show a lot of interest in. And last time I kept Lake Tanganyika fish, I couldn't find multis. I could find ocellatus, Telmatochromis, stuff like that, but I never came across any multis. So when I seen them in the shop, I thought, now's my opportunity to own them. And the two I got were male from the shop. I'm assuming they were male. They're both bigger fish. So I ordered 4 more. So hopefully they're breeding. The most work is feeding. The most work is feeding here. Last work I did was cleaning the glass and skimmer, so ultra super low maintenance. That's with regards to maintenance, I think with my freshwater Melvin maintenance, I've just read Glenn's message. I always tend to get 50% weekly water changes done on freshwater, and I find if I do that like 50% every now and again, take it right down and fill it right back up, I find I have the most success with that method. And I wish I could do that with salt water, but it costs so much to change that amount of salt water in some of the tanks I've had. I think it was like, so 6, what am I looking at, so 8. So I think my last tank, it probably cost about £20 per water change off the top of my head to do the type of water changes that I like doing. No worries, Paul. But you know, one thing that really caught my attention the other day is I seen a poll, and it was Discus against albino Heckelei, and the Heckelei won it by a country mile. And I always thought like Discus was everyone's favourite fish, and it really stood out to me. Like I've never realised how much people appreciate those American cichlids. I don't know enough about them to say which one's Central American and which is South American, so yeah, people do get scared of Discus, and it's a shame really, isn't it, because they're such a stunning fish. Do you know what, Paul? I completely underappreciated how much people love that fish. I seen the poll and I was like, wow, I can't believe that won and it wasn't close. Like, it absolutely flew the poll. And then I've seen so many people posting pictures of them. I mean, I might have just been lucky, but I never had any problems with my Discus. Are they expensive? I didn't realise that. I think I'm going to have to show those American cichlids a lot more love. I think I spent that much of my hobby preoccupied with the Africans, because I see like a lot of the lads around by me have got jags and stuff like that, haven't they? And they got some really stunning fish. And I remember Corey from Aquarium Co-op went and he was showing off Dovi, and they were absolutely stunning, but they were a bit big for me. Them, the adult ones, they were absolutely massive. I don't think I've seen a fish that big, apart from the obvious, the likes of the Arapaima, but I've never seen anyone keep an Arapaima in a fish tank long term. I tell you what though, speaking of monster fish, them gar have always, I had bacterial issues, but antibiotics. Yeah. See I don't think Discus are expensive compared to Pleco and Pistos. Yeah, my local shop gets them in pretty competitively priced, and there's definitely Plecos in my local shop. But I think when I got them, the lad in my local fish shop he absolutely loves his Discus, but he doesn't keep them. And he doesn't keep them personally, he keeps like rarer types of angels. But he always brings them into the shop. He always gets an order of Discus in, and they always go. But he's really good at, he knows his stuff when it comes to what you call it in them, when you're getting them in, and he's really good at like quarantining them and stuff, and he gives you loads of knowledge of what to do. And I think that was the basis of my success. He was asking me what I was going to do with my water and stuff, and he knew that obviously it was him I was buying me saltwater stuff off, so he knew that I already had experience. So I'm definitely, if I could do free fish right now, that absolute bucket list fish, and just go back to, I'd have black diamond stingrays, I'd have my front toes out, and they'd probably be able to go in one tank, and then I'd have a breeding pair of checkerboards, and that'd keep me happy. I might sneak a Pleco in here or there maybe. But the wall outside my local fish shop's got it's got checkerboards and zebra Plecos painted on it, and I think that's such a dream combination of fish. I'd absolutely love to keep black diamond, but it's getting the space. I did have the room in my last house, and I started seriously pricing up tanks for them and shopping around, and I was kind of in the process of seriously contacting people who sold pearls with the intention of actually buying them, not just window shopping kind of thing. Yeah, I think I get the impression from what I've heard that zebra Plecos are a bit more finicky than people realise. I mean, Discus got a reputation for being a very sensitive fish, but a lot of what I've heard, it sounds like zebra Plecos can be just as finicky. But I do like that. I don't know what style of Plecos they're called, but like you've got the likes of the L333, the 230, 236, the 397, the L046. That type of Pleco, I really appreciate that body shape and stuff, and kind of annoyed at myself that I got rid of my L333s, but everyone was breeding them at the time, and the market was swamped with them. All the fish shops were flooded with them, and I thought there's no point me keeping hold of them and breeding them if I can't move mine on, because all the shops have already got them. So, and then ironically my local shop took them straight off me. Does anyone Kept the likes of the 397s and the 236s and stuff, the old 333s. Since I've been in this house, I've had them. Wow. I've seen Paul's, is it L95 Paul's got? That's absolutely amazing, that fish. But I've kind of been on and off with Plecos for years. I've never really paid them any attention. And then when I set this tank up with me, I was going to do my breeding shrimp for profit series, and I went on Facebook to do research for it, and I came across Shrimp Fanatics on Facebook and thought, right, I'll go on there to do my research, and it was Glenn's. It's an absolute beast, mate. It's an absolute unit, that fish. And I came across Glenn's Facebook group, joined it, and I thought, I know nothing compared to these people. Like, who am I kidding? But while I was doing that, I was following like Mark's Fish Tank's recommendation of putting Plecos in the tank to kind of create a lot of waste, so like the shrimplet could feed off it. And I got to the point where I thought, hang on a minute, like I'm enjoying these Plecos more than I'm enjoying having 300 shrimp in a massive fish tank. And the more I've moved them around and played with them, the more I'm really getting to appreciate Plecos. I've seen a lot of people keep Plecos in African cichlid tanks, but I'd never put anything like that in this tank. If I was going to put anything in it, it'd be the Cynodontis, is it? The cuckoo catfish, I cannot pronounce that. I think I'd put a couple of them in here to grow out and then take them back to my fish shop. They like a meaty diet, yeah. I've heard that, but what does that... If anyone's got experience, can anyone explain to me what that means? I'm not trying to catch people out, like I'm genuinely, I want to know what that actually means. What because I've seen it, they don't like veggies and stuff. So actually, I'm really curious to know what that actually entails. What would I actually be feeding those type of fish properly? Because I was trying the likes of bloodworm and brine shrimp, but I never really got to observe them eat it. I don't know whether they were taking it or not. They were eating something, because they survived for a good year, maybe. Salmon fillets. Right guys, so I think I'm going to wrap it up there for now. I might have to check if my missus is back and if I've got to do the school run, if I'm going to be open and honest with everyone. So if she's not back, I'll have to shoot up the school and get the little fella. So, but if she's back, I can come back on, I think. But I'll leave it there for now, see what's going on, and then I might pop back on in a bit. So enjoy your afternoon if you're in the UK, and whatever time of day it is where you are. I'll take care and I'll see you soon.